Yo, what's up guys? We're back for Rent a Girlfriend 378. I'm a little late on this one, but it was good. I was just a little busy, I couldn't cover it. Okay, let's just hop straight into it. Basically, from the last chapter, it was kind of what I thought was gonna happen, is Chizuru was like, he grabbed Kazuya's hand and was like, we're ready to talk, we need to talk about something, we have something to talk about, and now's the time to do it, right? And what I suspected was that there's gonna be a little, not filler, but you know, we weren't gonna get straight into their whole conversation or whatever. Basically, this chapter was just kind of like a flashback, just to like Chizuru's past, and just her back in like high school, middle school, I think. I think it was mostly high school. Basically, Chizuru was, you know, a popular girl back in the day or whatever, and she was getting asked out a bunch, and yeah, she just had to like, she was just trying to go through, like, I guess rejection, how to reject people, because I guess, like, you know, like, whatever, the basketball ace, and, you know, just a bunch of different popular people they were trying to court her, right, but she never really gave a true response. So basically, like, through this chapter, we're kind of going through Chizuru's thought process and her mentality going into dating and relationships. And basically how this happens is, once Chizuru gets back home from the day of, you know, getting asked out, I would assume it's over a couple of days, you know, but basically one day she's looking at her grandma, right, and she's asking, oh, were you popular back in high school, and did like a bunch of guys used to ask you out? And then I guess she's asking this because like her grandma said that she was like super popular, and you know, maybe it was a joke, maybe it wasn't, but yeah. So this kind of piques her interest, and yeah, basically Chizuru kind of just wants to know the secrets, you know, the secret sauce of what to do in the situation. Her grandma says that she, you know, got asked out by 100 guys, right? And then Chizuru's like, oh, whoa, what is happening, right? And then she says, oh, well, it wasn't really asking out, they proposed to her instead. I guess, you know, old-fashioned times, you know, she's getting proposed to instead of, you know, getting courted and, you know, modern day dating. But yeah, basically what she goes and says is that, you know, even though she got, you know, all these dudes, all these guys want to have like a relationship with her, only, you know, her husband, the person that she ended up with, made her feel a certain type of way. And this kind of, you know, gets Chizuru in the mood of like, I don't know if I really want to keep going and hearing all this, but what I do like about it is that we get more of her expressive side, and we get less of like, we're getting more of her, like, her mentality and just more of her personality showing through. I know it's through a flashback and it's not like her, like, current what she's thinking, but at least, you know, in a manga sense, does give a lot of character development towards the present day characters. But yeah, jumping back to grandma, right? R.I.P., rest in peace. But she was saying that, like, the day she met her husband, he sent, like, a taxi over, like, what, 750 miles just for her. So a little bit of a simp, as you know, some of the boys may call it now, but you know, he had to do what he had to do, bro. Yo, what's up guys? I was editing the video and I stopped at this part and I thought about it some more, and I realized that Kazuya's actions kind of line up with Chizuru's grandpa, like his actions, like how he was always doing the most. And yeah, Kazuya also kind of mimics that behavior, so maybe that was also like a pull for Chizuru in a sense, because, you know, if her grandma was like, you know, fell in love with some dude who was always doing the most, then why wouldn't Chizuru do the same? That's just my 2 cents. Maybe I'm just whatever, bro. But after all this, all her little, you know, joking around, she asked why Chizuru is asking, you know, her about relationships and all that stuff. And then Chizuru's like, well, lately guys have been asking me out, and she's like, well, I'm not really trying to play hard to get, but she just thinks it's a little tiresome. And yeah, I mean, I guess from her perspective, it's like, I guess it would be hard to, you know, just straight up reject people, because you don't want to hurt their feelings, but it's kind of like, there's no really way to, you know, I guess not hurt their feelings. It's either you start dating them or you don't, right? And leaving them hanging is probably not the best best thing to be doing for other people. And yeah, Chizuru's just really stuck in this like dilemma of like not wanting to hurt the guys that were asking her out. She doesn't want to look rude or mean or whatever, but she's just not really interested in them, and she wants to know like the best way to go about it. Because right now she's kind of just putting it off, like pushing it off to the side. I wouldn't say pretending that it didn't happen, but you know, she's just non-confrontational about it. And then basically her grandma's like, oh, so you turned them down, right? And then Chizuru goes silent, you know, because she didn't turn them down. She just kind of left them hanging. And then she's just talking about, oh, there's so many guys trying to ask her out, so she just didn't do it, right? But yeah, basically, a little funny scene with the grandma. She takes away her food because I guess spankings aren't allowed in like the new age culture. But, you know, as like a punishment for not like turning them down immediately. But yeah, the grandma's like, yep, you have to you have to contact them immediately and turn them down because that's, you know, the right thing to do. And she's saying for Chizuru to do this, like to confront her feelings, or not confront her feelings, but confront the feelings of others, like so she doesn't become like a shallow girl. Basically, her grandma just doesn't want her to like disregard other people's feelings. So that's kind of what this whole, you know, situation is about. Why she's making Chizuru contact them. And then the important thing that her grandma says is that if you know your answer, then turn them down immediately and let them move on to someone else. And then she goes on a rant about like pride and a woman's pride, but you know, it is I would assume that's like, you know, the right thing to do in that situation, because even though Chizuru is just, you know, kind of putting off responding to the confessions, she's already made up her mind in her head, but she just hasn't told them, right? And yeah, that's kind of just the end of the flashback, and we cut back to present day where we ended the last chapter off at, where Chizuru's like, I want to talk right here, right? And we get some cool panels. It's rag, but it's peak rag right now, so not too much to complain about. So yeah, basically Kazuya's like flustered, like he's dumbfounded. He's like, oh shit, it's gonna happen now. He's just freaking out basically. But yeah, the most important thing for him right now that's it on his mind is that she knows her answer. Basically, she's already made her decision in her mind, right? And Kazuya's just kind of anticipating whatever he's anticipating. Probably the worst, but hopefully not the worst. So yeah, he's just not prepared. Kazuya's just not ready, bro. But yeah, it was gonna happen sooner or later, this conversation, and we kind of start to get a little bit of it. So Chizuru's like, you know, she takes the lead in the situation. She's like thanking Kazuya for being like going out with her today, and that how much fun she had, and like, you know, everything's been super enjoyable, even despite the rain. And then she starts talking about how living together was also fun, also super enjoyable. And yeah, she's almost apologizing for how long it's taken her to like research her feelings, and she realizes that she probably made Kazuya worry a little bit, but yeah, she's still really appreciative of of Kazuya being present with her. And then after this, we cut off to Kazuya, whatever, his like stupid internal monologue. He's just really stressing out at this point. You know, I would assume, right? I mean, because we don't really get to know. I mean, he does kind of go into, he does doom spiral a little bit, but yeah, he's basically trying to like analyze every little thing that she's, you know, gonna say or what she has said already, you know, compliments or whatever. So whatever, Kazuya just in his head, he's doing Kazuya things during this time. And then Chizuru just keeps continuing talking, saying how she was so happy that Kazuya looked after her when she was sick, and also when they like, when did they play with the kids? That sounds crazy of a sentence, but because Kazuya, whatever, does the volunteer work at one of the daycares, and I forgot, I don't think that was like a rental date that they went on. I don't remember. That was like a year and a half ago, but I don't remember the actual like chapter, like what they were doing there. But yeah, Chizuru went over to the daycare and helped a little bit with that, and they were kind of like a, you know, little family or whatever. But yeah, she's saying all these positive things and all of these, like, how do you say them? Like giving Kazuya compliments, giving him his flowers, right? And then she says, but. And then basically when she says but, Kazuya's like, aw, damn, bro, it's over. It's so cooked. It's so cooked, right? And then basically the next page, we get half a panel of Chizuru saying, or, actually. So, yeah. And then Kazuya just gets a little flustered after that. And that's the end of the chapter. But okay, I'm trying to like process this because I read it before and it was super hype. This last panel, this last page confirmed all of our suspicions, which weren't really suspicions in the first place, but Chizuru has made up her mind for the most part, as we can see. It's different than all the all the other times where she rejected guys, right? You know, instead of saying but, she said or, actually. So I'm assuming she fell in love and Kazuya's all there for it. How do I feel about this? I don't know, bruh. I don't really know. I think it's like, you know what would have made it better? What would have made it better is if they saved this, like, this last panel, this last page for the next chapter. I feel like that would have been really good. I feel like that would have made it even more hype. Like, that would have been crazy. But yeah. They're basically, from what I assume, they're gonna get together by next chapter or so, right? They're gonna confirm, like, you know, they're gonna confirm the relationship and whatever. How it happens, I don't know. Maybe after this, Kazuya just turns into, like, maybe he just goes super stupid and, like, just, like, gets on his hands and knees and starts, like, I don't know, like, professing his love out to her. But who knows what's gonna happen. I guess it would be cool if we get, like, a confession from Chizuru, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, I mean, that's really the chapter, man. Not too much to really say about it. It's just kind of rag. And this was inevitable. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just a little lost for words. I mean, it's just like, I feel like we could have done, not better, but I feel like the series is most definitely coming to an end soon. And I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not ready to let Rag go, bro. I wasn't ready to let Kaguya go, and now another one's fallen. Another soldier's fallen. Shit. So, it is what it's gonna be. But yeah, I do hope that we do clear up some of the air around Mommy, especially Mommy, and especially Ruka. Other than that, I mean, I feel like it'll end pretty okay. I don't know how much left Rag's got, as I always say in these videos, but you know, we're still chugging along, we're still progressing through the story. There's a lot less, you know, filler side stuff anymore. I mean, also, we've been on this arc for, like, what? The better part of a year. Yeah, around, like, the better part of a year now. So it's, you know, we're cutting all the fluff. We're just, you know, in the moment now. But yeah, man, that's really about it. This chapter, like, there's not really much I can say. It's like, if you read it, you kind of know what it was about, what kind of happened, what was the deal with it. But yeah, that's really about it. I'll see you.